Nuh-uh.
The fuck you mean, nah?
What's up, you guys, and welcome to Sith Happens Star Wars Podcast. I am Eric the Dadalorian, and thank you guys for joining us for a very special episode today. Now, I'm joined by my two usual scruffiest of the Nerf herders, which is going to be my boy Matty Ice and Ant. How are you guys doing?
Doing fantastic, my man. I'm a little scruffier today, but still not so scruffy.
You're almost there, yeah.
I know. I'm looking more like me, as Matt said. But
it's like the scruff-less Nerf herder.
It's just the Nerf herder.
Happy to be here tonight with you guys, and really excited to talk about some Star Wars video games.
Yes. Yep, and hello there. I am Black Series Daily Desk, otherwise known as Matty Ice on the cast, and I, too, am excited to talk about video games and learn a little bit, because I've only played a few.
Yes, and to help us talk about that, we are joined by a very special guest today. So I actually met this guy through Gory Comics, the guy who we do all of our amazing t-shirts from, just FYI. But he is one of the premier guys on social media as far as Star Wars creators. He has some of the best content I've seen out there, and I've seen him whip a lightsaber around in that room that he's in right there. We're talking about my boy Nerdy Brent. How you doing, man?
Hey, doing great. Good little Gory Comics plug right there. I'm sure he appreciates that. Doing great though. I'm super stoked to talk about video games here with you guys. It's kind of my passion. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, man. This is an episode we've actually been talking about doing for a hot minute. So Matt is a little bit less on the video game side. Although you will appreciate one of the ones we're going to talk about. But yeah.
And I watch the cutscenes for the record, like their movies. Like I need to know what's happening. So like the day a game comes out by like 9 p.m., I watched the whole 4-hour walkthrough cutscenes. Like it's actually
until you told me that you did that, I never would have thought about that. And that's actually, I did that after you told me just for fun, and it was really cool. I liked it.
Yeah, it's like cheating to get the story.
He's the guy that goes to YouTube, and watches people play games.
Yeah, 100%. When I can't sleep, I literally I've watched like all of the like Call of Duty games, like their movies. And my wife's like, I do it in chapters. My wife's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, just watching somebody play Battlefront 2. I love the story. I'm watching. This is the third time you watched it. I'm like, it's awesome.
It's been every time.
It is like watching a movie, honestly.
Yeah,
dude, that right there should be a movie, and we are going to talk about that. But before we get into the video game side of things, with our boy Brent being on the show here for the first time, brother, I myself, you and I have talked a little bit, but we actually haven't had like too many in-depth conversations, and I am very curious to learn a little bit more about your Star Wars story, as we like to call it, so to say, man. So consider this your job interview, so to say, for the podcast. But man, so we just want to learn a little bit about like what got you into Star Wars, favorite movies, stuff like that. So the three of us have always talked about like what got us into Star Wars, like what was the movie we saw or show we saw, and like what kind of drove that fan passion for us. So what was that for you?
For me, so it all starts. The main drive was Star Wars Lego, and I love Star Wars Lego. But so when I was super young, I would always build Lego sets. But the biggest thing is my dad. Okay, he was such a big Star Wars fan. Like it was like not as cool back in his day, but he was like unashamedly, the Star Wars fan. And so I have pictures of me, wearing little Star Wars hats as like a 1-year-old, and so it's in my DNA. I want to say. So it's kind of like a really big part of who I was, and it just blossomed into something I can't contain now that I'm older. There's no holding back, and I'm not even gonna attempt to tame it down. So
yeah.
Well,
you're in good company here on this cast.
No lie. And I for one know you got a little one of yourself, so me, you, and Ant pretty make up the dad batch of this podcast right here. Matt, you kind of do as well with your scruffy guy there.
Yeah.
Passing that on to our kids is like something that I looked forward to that ever since I had kids, and like I'm doing it with them now, and like I know you are as well, and it's something so fun. I just shot these guys pictures today. I got my kids like these wall arts of like the Darksaber and Ahsoka for my son and daughter's room and stuff. It's like Star Wars is so freaking fun as a parent, honestly. It really is.
That is.
getting to introduce them into this world that we really love, honestly, or this galaxy that we love, so to say. So, now one of the questions, and I guess this is going to be where everybody judges you a little bit. What is your favorite show or movie, like that top Star Wars for you?
I know the answer to one.
He already knows the answer to them. We discussed it a little bit before, but the show I have to do show and movie because it's just different. But
okay, fair. All right, we'll do that.
When it comes to shows, like Rebels is my go-to.
Okay.
I was a little bit starting off with it like this is kind of weird, like little kid stuff, but it just got so deep, like surprisingly deep. Every time, like each season, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is.
It ages with the audience, right? Like by
really,
the end of it,
does
they're
a good
killing
job.
people. Yeah,
it's great. And then movie, my staple, my comfort is a Phantom Menace. So that's that one.
Dude,
nice.
That hell yeah. So the three of us have always talked about this, and I don't get crap from them, but I get crap sometimes because Phantom Menace has always been in like my top 3 because that is just, I agree with you, comfort movie to the max right there. I love that. So did you see it in theaters when you grew up or growing up or no?
No, but last year I did. I had my whole face painted as Maul, so that was fun.
Nice.
I saw
That's
that video
awesome.
you did recently with your saber from Maul, by the way. Really good stuff. So
Yeah, that was fun.
And yeah, man. So that, and honestly, dude, last year the anniversary for that, so amazing. I went to the Return of the Jedi the year before, and this year coming up with Revenge of the Sith, man. Like,
yeah,
it's
This
gonna
is Force
it's gonna go hard.
Awakens. Force Awakens 10 years this year too, so I wonder if they're gonna do like
I
a
didn't
little,
think
like,
about
one at the
like a
holidays,
double whammy.
and one, yeah, like one like in May the 4th, and then probably like Revenge of the Sith, and like maybe around the holidays. I mean, I'll be at both multiple times. I saw Return of the Jedi like 4 times in the theater.
I think I'll be probably more excited to see Force Awakens again if they brought that out, honestly, in theaters. But obviously, I'll go to any Star Wars movie that's in a theater.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to it.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
I saw Phantom Menace, Brent, last year too, and I have my son is just over a year old, and so back then, obviously, math will indicate he was younger. And so my wife, she didn't want to leave him, and I was like, "Well, do you mind?" I went by myself, and I had a blast, and it was great. I was literally one of 2 people in that theater.
That's
when
the
I
best.
did when I did Return of the Jedi, I was literally one of like 2 or 3, and it's the only time I've ever been in a movie and went on Do Not Disturb the first time I went, and my wife was like, "What? Did you go on Do Not Disturb for the movie?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've never seen Anakin as a ghost on screen. Are you kidding me?"
Have you heard of Return of the Jedi?
That was emotional, honestly, going to see that in theaters. Me and my
Yeah.
brother went to see that, and like you guys have heard my story about how my uncle introduced us when we were like kids and shit, and like that was super great, emotional. And then last year, Phantom Menace, I actually brought my daughter with me. It was the first movie she ever been to in theaters, and being able to go
Nice,
see
dude.
that, it was like really, really special, honestly.
Way cool.
So,
Oh, fun.
That's awesome.
I know you two both got very, very little ones. When they get a little bit older, like the fun stuff gets really freaking fun. Let me tell you that now. So, now another question, and I'm curious about this one because I know you're a saber guy. What is your favorite lightsaber?
So Anakin's is rubbing on me a little bit, but that's like everyone's favorite, but I don't necessarily love it as much.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite saber is probably kind of see it in the corner, but Stone
yeah.
Geos.
Oh, yeah.
nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some
That's
High
a
Republic
cool
plug
saber.
right there. It's just gorgeous. I love the crossguard. I love the gold accents. It's just a work of art.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ant's,
it really is.
Ant's brother brought that on a couple of weeks back, actually.
Yeah, he used
That one,
as his
yeah. I wish that one was
collector's
actually real, but I 3D printed that one, so
Oh,
It's
okay.
not-
Okay, gotcha. Well,
it's
it looks
not
yeah,
as
I mean,
not as functional as I'd like it to be.
It looks
Yeah,
good. That
fair
was
enough.
my big. I was disappointed in Acolyte, and like I liked Acolyte, but it was so late in the High Republic that their lightsabers were pretty tame. And like I said, I'm not
Yeah.
a huge High Republic guy, but I love the way the lightsabers look when you get into like the middle to early years. Like they've got like knuckle grips, they've got like the cross guard. Like I was hoping for a little bit of that in the show, but yeah.
yeah.
Well, we'll
Brent,
get to
do you
talk
have
about that
the-
during some
the
of these video
lightsaber
games.
book from the High Republic.
I don't. I need to get that.
I was paging through it at my brother's, and there's probably over 100 different lightsabers in there.
That's insane, actually.
It's awesome.
Grievous over here having a panic attack.
Yeah, because he can't stand up. Sorry. Anyway,
action figure joke.
That's hilarious.
All right, and Brent, final question there for you, man.
Yes.
So if you had to say you're in the Star Wars universe, right? Like you're in a galaxy far, far away. Which one of the factions do you see yourself aligning with? Alliance, Empire, Bounty Hunters, or even some in Republic era? What do you see yourself with?
I would be more like, if I could be a Jedi, I would, like 100% full send. I would absolutely love that. And if I had to pull a Sabine and just force the Force into me, I would.
Force the Force.
Go Force. Hey, everybody's got a little Force in them. That's what Kanan said.
Hey, listen, that's the episode title right there. Force the Force.
Hey, Force. I know it would be great.
Force, of course.
We've never had anybody, when we asked what faction, like, what would it say about a person if they were like, oh, 100% First Order? Like, it's like, whoa, yeah. I just like the cut of their jib. It feels like they're a like-minded group of individuals who don't like the direction the galaxy's headed in. Like, I would love that. Yeah.
And they're not the Empire.
A little
okay?
too hitting for today's
They're the
climate.
First Order.
All right.
Should
But-
that-
yes. But anyways, Brent, brother, it was it's good to hear some of that from you and really learn your Star Wars story and
Yeah, I
some of
love
your
it.
phase, brother. Now we're gonna get into the meat of today's show, which is Star Wars video games, which is I know it's something I'm passionate about. I know it's something you guys are passionate about, and like we're gonna go back a little bit. We're gonna start back with this. Actually, we had a recommendation come in from Instagram actually for this, and this was from it was actually your boy Matt Crispy SBS on Instagram. And said,
Jimmy!
Don't forget
Jimmy.
to show some love for Shadows of the Empire on N64.
Oh, we'll show
And-
some love.
Oh my
Yeah.
hell, dude! One, in my opinion, still in the top 5 Star Wars games.
don't
Maybe
know
it's
how
the
many
nostalgia
out-
for me, but it's amazing. I loved it.
Hundreds of
wanna
hours
say-
of love that
Yeah,
I showed that
I was
game.
going to say, I've only played 5 or 6 video games in my entire life, despite watching cutscenes. I've only beaten like 3 of them. It's GoldenEye, Metal Gear Solid, and Shadows of the Empire. And I
Nice.
played Shadows of the Empire for months on end. And like, I think I'm the elder statesman here. So I lived through the dark times when there was like no Star Wars. And that came like right in the middle of like the 90s. And it was like, for me, we got like the story everybody wanted to hear, like what happened in between. We got my boy Dash Rendar. It was this like first time
Dash.
it was like a multimedia approach to everything. Like I had the audiobook, I had the book, I had the micro machines, I had the toys. It's just such a cool game, and the IP on it. Like, I mean, I think my favorite board was the swoop bike battle. And like
Oh,
even
yeah.
getting that swoop bike toy from the Power of the Force line was fantastic.
I remember that one actually too, man. And I know for me, like that game drove my my love for one of my favorite bounty hunters. And that was IG-88, man. So like we see him in Empire, and then facing off in him in the game against Dash Rendar, just so freaking sick, man.
Great
like
level.
that battle in the scrapyard and everything, just so freaking awesome. Honestly, like further, obviously you go back and play that now, it's like ridiculously low quality game compared to the stuff nowadays, but this nostalgia on that is just absolutely nuts in my opinion.
Yeah, that was definitely one of 2 or 3 games on the 64 that my brother and I kind of cycled through.
Oh, yeah.
And the other 2 we probably won't talk about, so I'll just name drop real quick. Battle for Naboo was a really fun ship game. And then I don't know that we will talk about it, but Rogue Squadron, of course. But
I love
Shadows
that one.
was my favorite because, you know, it's what is it? First person, right?
It's like
first
person in
fighter
that game.
the fighter cockpit.
Whatever it is. That is, you know, you're not in a ship, and I like being on the ground. And there's one of the missions towards the end. I think it's like some sort of core, and you got to use the jetpack to like fly up and deactivate.
Yeah, forgot about that.
I forget what it is exactly. I'm a little rusty on the story, but I promise I've been that game through dozens of times.
Well, one of the ones you said too that I actually like super fond memories growing up is Rogue Squadron 2, actually, man. And like I was thinking about this today, right? As we were kind of like talking this morning about the cast and stuff. And I actually remember growing up, man, and like, so I used to go to an orthodontist when I was a kid, and they had like it was a bougie ass orthodontist, firstly. So they had like this video game room there to go play it and stuff while you're waiting to go in to see the doctor and stuff. And they had Rogue Squadron in there, but it was a like a cockpit chair with like the joystick, thruster. And I was just like, this is the best thing I have ever done.
I love the dentist.
All of a sudden, I found myself ripping my braces out and everything like that. So,
I gotta go back.
Yeah,
no doubt.
I was gonna say, you guys just made me think. Shadows of the Empire. When I was a kid, I played it so many times that I would time myself beating the game. I think my best record was like 45 minutes, and now that I'm like 42, I was like 40. Now that I'm 4, I could just run through it, and like now that I'm like 42. I'm like, it would probably take me 6 days to beat that game.
Yeah.
Like, I'd have to like get muscle memory back, but it's just funny. I mean, I loved that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. But Brent, brother, why don't you jump in here? Why don't you tell us one of your favorite games?
I'm gonna be honest. I never played Shadows, so I can't really dive much into that one. But I definitely remember playing Force Unleashed a ton.
Yeah.
So that one kind of threw me into the Star Wars gaming, and then my favorites is Fallen Order and Survivor. Those are my favorites.
Hell
yeah.
Same.
Oh yeah.
I mean, can we just talk about how much Force Unleashed is like batshit? Like I've watched all the cutscenes and seen people play, but like you dive off a building with 2 lightsabers behind you and just hit shit
It's
while you're
insane.
falling.
OP, like way OP.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
in a good way. Like in a ridiculous.
That was
fun
actually
way.
a recommendation from the Instagram as well from Aussie Action Figures was Force Unleashed and like
Bruce.
Dude, so it was it was a really fun game, but also as somebody who loves Star Wars, like they overpowered Starkiller just so insanely in that game. It was just absolute Force on steroids, which I mean, Force Unleashed, but like definitely one of the more memorable games they had there. And I mean, it introduced us to Sam. It really brought Sam Witwer into the Star Wars galaxy, and look at all the stuff that he has done with Lucasfilms and everything like that, from Clone Wars, Rebels. Like it's like honestly that right there did a lot of things and brought Sam Witwer into these amazing characters he's played realistically. So
It was also one of the first instances of like customizing a lightsaber, kind of, you know?
kind of. And then
Colors.
what was that other one that you said actually?
Fallen Order?
Fallen Order. Yeah, so the Jedi series, in my opinion, has to be top tier Star Wars. Like it's probably like the most fun I've had gaming on a Star Wars game ever, realistically.
Except for what's the planet? The snowy one. Forget that one. Was the snowy planet? Not Ilum. Not the Ilum, but the one we get lost on, the maze one. All the time.
Is it in Fallen Order or Survivor?
Yeah, it's in Fallen Order. Oh man, I forget the name of it. But everyone always complains about getting lost on this planet. And...
it's not the Zepho planet, right?
Yeah, whatever that one
Zepho.
is. Like, screw that planet. I just it's a nightmare.
I definitely went to my good friend Google a couple times to get through those mazes, I'll be honest. But I love those games.
I'll tell you what, I never had to do that for Fallen Order, but like, so I'm in the middle still of playing Survivor right now because I just got my PS5 last in December, so like I'm still playing through. And firstly, holy crap, there is so much in that game. It's like playing Star Wars Skyrim, basically. And second, that's when I actually need to look up, like, where the hell do I need to go? Because this place is freaking huge, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
it's a big open world.
Yeah, like, I have never, even in Skyrim, I never had to do that. But, like, with this game, like, there's so much, like, you have to bounce this tiny little bit to over here. Like, there's so much I have to look up in this game. Like, it's a hard game to play, but it is so worth it because the story in this so far is just, like, they could have made a movie trilogy out of this, like 100%.
For sure.
And the rumors that Cal is going to appear in the upcoming Andor series, like, I'm really curious to see, one, if it's true, and two, what they do with this to be realistic.
Right. I mean, he fits right into the timeline, so they could realistically do anything.
I'm like,
I hope
mixed
BD1
on
comes
that.
too.
Yeah,
They got it. honestly.
I would love about
Well,
those
they
games.
did just, what was it, last year, introduce the BD-1 droids into the Disney parks.
Into Galaxy's Edge, yeah.
Oh yeah.
What I love about those games though is that like we're all saying like it could have been a movie. Like as somebody who watches cutscenes, right? Like one, like it's like watching a
Basically
movie,
is.
but yeah, no, 100%. And like it also like what it opens up for like knowledge about Star Wars, different storylines that you can branch off, things you can cover in the comics. I think is what the most impressive part of the new games are. Is that with like story group and there's like keepers of lore, like so and so, like old legends. It was like everybody could be everywhere all at once, and it's like now it's like nope, couldn't be there. Like it's really cool with the continuity and like the rules they're establishing and following, and it's awesome. And then Cal Kestis is just a fantastic character in general.
And the world building that these games are making.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I do architecture as a professional career, and like it would be my dream to just design like a city, almost like Atten from Skeleton Crew. I would love to do that. I would love to design all of the cities and little ruins that these characters get to play in.
Do it for us. Do it for all of us.
Send.
Hop in.
Just quit my job and just do that.
Us fans will support you.
Listen, we know Ardashir. Ardashir works in Lucasfilms. Like, let's just get him the in, right?
Yeah.
But
There we go.
but yeah. So, anyways, that right there is honestly one of my favorites, and super happy to talk about that one. Honestly, we're gonna cover lots of games, so like I'm stopping myself from going too deep into it. But that is definitely one of my top faves, if not my top fave.
Yeah, I think my favorite addition in Survivor is, I forget what it's called, but when you go into the like overdrive mode, essentially.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Like and everything kind of turns red around the screen.
He almost like taps into the dark side a little bit or something.
Yeah, yep. That's always fun. And you just go ape shit on everybody.
And I will say this, the characters in this game, like especially playing in the new Survivor one, it is a lot more difficult beating them than it was in like Jedi Fallen Order. Like facing off against the Raiders and stuff like that,
Oh my
it's
gosh,
way more difficult than it was against
Raiders, man.
They like it was like, honestly, like I said, I'm still playing through it, so I haven't finished it. I actually just got to the part where you beat Ravis. Like I just finished that part
nice.
yesterday, actually.
What a character. Gosh.
He's the big dude, right?
Awesome. Yeah, the big dude, crazy tentacles and stuff.
I want a black series of him. He's the same species as Dirge, if you ever watch like the old school, like the Clone Wars cartoon. And they can't die, which is like
they're
awesome.
immortal or something like that. Like
they just you have to drop them in the sun. I think that's how they killed Dirge in like old canon. Like it's like you gotta perpetually be burning them. But yeah.
For Fall or Survivor, Cal sliced his head off, so I guess that's canon. That also works.
Oh, I guess now a new canon, yeah. I was gonna say these guys now. I need like part of me not getting into High Republic is like I need a character with a blaster, and like I loved watching like Fallen Order, but like when Survivor came out and Cal had a blaster and we saw that like on the action figure first, I was like, hell yeah! Like that's like so dumb thing to be stoked about, but I was stoked about it.
That's fair.
No, that
funny thing
awesome.
is I very rarely use that stance in the game.
Nice.
I'm sure
it's either dual wielding or
I love the blaster.
For me, it's always dual wield or cross guard.
I feel like that's what I naturally do is one of those two options. But if I think about it and I'm like, oh, let's have some fun, bust out the blaster and it's powerful. I mean, it's
like
a fun
the
little
full
toy.
Indiana Jones scene where that guy is with the sword and he just pulls his blaster out and just like, I'm ending this right now.
I was just thinking it'd be like if I went to one of your houses to play and it's like I only use the blaster and I keep dying and you guys are like, Matt, I cannot stress enough that you need to use the lightsaber. And it's like, whoops.
Like, oh, I forgot I had this.
Yeah.
Oh God.
All right. Moving on to one of our next games. From it's almost like this guy's related to somebody on this podcast. Ari's Lego Legends and More said Lego Star Wars in general, but would love to hear you chat about LSW3, The Clone Wars, and The Force Awakens. Now, I personally did not play much onto those ones. Like, I actually didn't get much into the Lego Star Wars games until a little bit recently, actually, when that the Skywalker Saga or whichever, Skywalker Saga came out. And I loved it, dude. Like, and it's one I've played with my kids too, man. So like, I got a 5 and a 3-year-old, and like they're still they're still young. Like the 3-year-old definitely has trouble with it, but like my 5-year-old, she can do it and plays it and stuff. And like, it's, as a parent doing stuff like that with your kids, it's so freaking fun, honestly. And like it goes off of the real story of the Skywalker saga. Yeah. It just throws in some really hilarious Lego stuff in there.
Oh yeah. I will say this is a hot take, but I mean, it might just be my age. I'm like not even that old, but the Skywalker saga, the new Lego Star Wars game, isn't as fun as the original Lego Star Wars game that we used to play. Like that one is the best to me. I get confused.
I might need to go back and get it then, honestly.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. I think that's accurate. Like, I don't know, and it's not that it's not fun because it is essentially the same game.
Yeah.
As far as gameplay goes.
Yeah.
But
it's just
but
more
no, that first one.
With.
Yeah. It's like don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah. No,
actually,
for sure.
now that I'm thinking about it, my nephew was playing it with my brother. Whatever one was even out like 2 years ago. And I was watching
that was Skywalker Saga,
and I was looking at it, and I'm like, "What the hell is this? Like, why am I not just bouncing around collecting coins here?"
Yeah, that's all you need.
Yeah,
you got to collect other things, dude. It's just a mess to me. But maybe I just need to play it more.
Yeah, no thanks.
I've had fun with it. So like, I played it through myself already, and like, there are like fun challenges to do in there, like to get certain like ships and stuff like that. So like it's a little bit harder to find it sometimes. Like it's not quite as obvious, but it is a fun game to play, honestly. And like with kids, something like that, it's easy for them to play.
It's definitely fun, but for me, if when I'm gonna play Lego Star Wars, I'm not playing it to try to figure something out and solve a puzzle. Like I want some mindless fun, lightsaber brick / in action.
That's fair.
I just that for that one. I know there's Legos in it, so that's what I got for you guys on that one.
Well, I appreciate that input, and I'll tell you,
Thank you, Matt.
The one I'm going to talk about next. I'm like super dating myself with this one. Dark Forces 2 on the PC back in the day. Do you guys even remember that one?
I'm
Dark
aware
Forces
of it. I never
1.
played it.
So this
Dark
was
Forces 1.
So yeah, this was the one with Kyle Katarn going off against like Jarek, Maw, and those guys. Like this was like it's one of those ones where like Matt, with you watching cutscenes and stuff, you definitely need to, and I recommend you guys do as well.
I played the first game.
Yeah. So like this was such a good story because it was basically Kyle Katarn during the Age of the Empire, trying to find the Valley of the Jedi, and like they had like these pseudo Siths like Jarek and stuff, and they like they didn't really say quite what they were, which I guess they were like borderline Inquisitor kind of, like comparing it to what we have in canon nowadays and everything like that. But it was a damn good game. Like for the day it was out and everything like that, back in I think it was like the late 90s or something like that, or early 2000s.
The first one's like early. That was like the first Dark Forces was, I think that came out before Heir to the Empire. Like that was the only Star Wars game in town. Like when that came out,
I can't even remember, to tell you the truth.
My family we didn't even have a computer in the 90s. It wasn't until the 2000s that we got one.
I know cutscenes are live action, which is awesome in the
yes,
game.
They are, and that was really, really amazing for this game,
nice.
Honestly.
Nice.
Because even as much as I loved Shadows of the Empire, that didn't even have the live action cutscenes. It was a Nintendo, so. But yeah, like the cutscenes on this were great, and I loved how this game particularly, it had something interesting in there. So you get to a point in the game where you basically can choose if you want to go to follow the light side or the dark side. So you get to pick your path.
Nice.
Essentially.
I love that. Kind of like Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah. So like you get to a point where like, so you build up your force powers, and so it starts building like all the basic stuff, and then it gets to a point where it verges off into either like wise off basically into the light or the dark side. And then you can start picking like force lightning and all that stuff, or like force heal and stuff. And whatever path you pick, you actually stay on that path throughout the course of the game. And it's two completely set. It leads to the same area and everything like that, but the cutscenes are drastically different.
Wait,
and everything like that.
Is that the Jedi Academy?
No, Dark Forces 2. I'm pretty positive
Does it have
about
the
that.
same plot and force powers potentially?
We have a
Jedi
debunk
Academy
for
was a
next
good
week?
one.
What was that?
You have a
That could be a
debunk for next
debunk.
week? Yeah. Okay.
Unless Brent can pitch in.
I can't help you on this one.
So I'm trying to pull the image up right here, and I will cut this into the podcast so everybody watching this can see it. But if you guys can see it, that is what the the thing looked like. It's Jarek up against Kyle Katarn. Really
Okay.
great game.
No, it must be just really, really similar to it, honestly. Because did you ever play Jedi Academy?
I don't think I did, to tell you the truth. Like,
there's 3 of them.
Yeah,
And it was for Xbox, and then the whatever came after the original Xbox. And the same idea. You get to basically choose to be dark or light, and
Oh, okay.
it's fun as hell. I
Nice.
went dark
Okay,
as hell
I didn't
every
know
time,
that.
and Ari always went light.
Of course,
Fair
you
enough. Well,
I do have to point out one other thing, and I have to do
Okay.
a shout out to Star Wars Black Series fan, my buddy Sam, on Facebook, because he loves Kyle Katarn. And I said Facebook on Instagram.
What's the matter?
Here's my beef with the character, Kyle. This is
That's
Star
just
Wars. And his
the
name
most
is
generic
Kyle.
white dude name
Yeah,
in
like-
Star Wars.
Yeah, his
what?
best friend is Doug. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, and not a Doug. Doug. Yeah.
So him and I had a lengthy conversation one day about his name being Kyle. So couldn't move out without throwing that out there.
Yeah, parents,
That's-
Frank and Mary, really great
Yep.
family.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yep.
Well, we're gonna, I think, polish off with this last game, and honestly, and it's games realistically, because I don't think we could talk Star Wars games without talking about these, and that is the OG and the new Battlefront 1 and 2.
Oh yeah.
Some of the best Star Wars games to come out. Honestly, like so starting with the OG, this really started the FPS games with me, like the first person shooter stuff. And it was so awesome being able, especially like I loved playing in the Republic era, getting to go to Kashyyyk and do the
Yes.
battles and all these other ones. Like, it was great. Like, the first one was not, like, the first OG one was not as great as the second one. The second one had a lot better features, honestly. But both of them, honestly, were just really groundbreaking for the video game community, realistically. Like,
Yeah.
what do you guys think?
100% agree. I think the ability for Battlefront 2 to have both really cool campaign stories and the ability to have Grievous fight so many other people in like multiplayer mode, it's such a unique, fun game that brings us together as nerds and, you know, lets people go off on their own, do their own things and find some Ewoks and stuff like that. But it's great. It's a classic and it's never going to go away.
The 501st Journal, what do you call it? Career mode or whatever it is, was honestly something so like extremely cool. And like, it's not entirely canon nowadays, because we know like 501st wasn't at some of those places and stuff like that. But just the way that they did it was really cool. I was really hoping in Bad Batch we would see a clone rebellion like we did see in the Battlefront games, because that would have been really sick on.
Could be
So-
coming. There's a new animated series they're working on. You don't know.
There
That's
is. I think we're gonna hear more about that coming up, because my guess for that personally is that it's a what is it?
one of the
Tales of the something,
anthologies.
like a
Yeah.
Tales of the something. We're gonna get some more of those.
I mean, we are going to get more of those, but I think it's going to be something different.
Like
that
equal to
they're-
Bad Batch, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because we've had Clone Wars and then Rebels and then Bad Batch and now what? They'll give us
Yeah.
something.
I mean,
I
if
mean,
they
if we
throw
had
us-
another-
they give us a series on Delta Force, I'm happy with that. Or
Yeah.
Delta Squad.
Oh, hell yeah. I would be too.
Yeah.
I would be too.
Badass.
But Brent, when you were talking about Battlefront 2, are you talking about the recent Battlefront 2?
That's the only game I've played, the recent one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I will say that I think that campaign is one of my top 5 video game experiences, period. I
That's a big
love the
statement.
Battlefront 2
Yeah.
campaign so much. I've played it so
Dude,
many
Iden
times.
Versio is such an awesome character.
It's
Oh,
so
yeah.
badass.
I mean,
So good.
and I've only watched the cutscenes and playthroughs, but like I'm a Han Solo guy, and that Han Solo level, like I mean, guys, like, and you get the Luke level with what's his name that ends up being the part of the
just fun, and it's not easy. It is not an easy campaign.
Yeah, no, it really wasn't. And like honestly, just the way they wrote the campaign and like the way they wrote the story, it really just it falls perfectly in line with everything in Star Wars from Return of the Jedi up to The Force Awakens, and it was really great that they did that. Sometimes the video games don't always stick to like the movie canon and stuff, and this did very well with that. And I like that it showed us this in between of like what we've seen in like movies and shows. It showed us after the Death Star blows up and really the fall of the Empire where it scatters after Jakku and everything like that. So and then all the way kind of cuts from there realistically, and that's really where like the New Republic rises. That's where the Age of Mando, Skeleton Crew, and all these other shows that we're seeing right now come in realistically. So,
I mean, they reference Operation Cinder and Burning Khan in Mando, and like one of the Bill Burr episode, like the second to last episode of season 2, gets I think overshadowed a lot because of the finale episode of that season. But that episode's phenomenal and gives you so much more insight into like an Imperial trooper like grunt that like, and that's all built out of this game. So the lore and the time spanning and what they can pull with it is awesome.
It absolutely is, man.
And agreed.
Like that game right there is just another one absolutely top tier, and I played the life out of that.
One of my favorite video games to play though is Battlefront 1, specifically the what do they call it? It's you can play a 2-player split screen. And it's basically the capturing the command post, but this updated version. And my wife and I play that, and it is just a blast because she loves to play it, and I'm like, it's like one game. She doesn't do video games in that game for whatever reason. I mean, she's a Star Wars fan, but like she's like, now let's play Battlefront. I'm like, yes, let us do that.
Yeah, I'll say this much: Ewok Hunt from Battlefront 2 will be the stuff of nightmares forever. I have played that game in pitch black and been trying to walk through as a stormtrooper and just all of a sudden start getting poked with a stick, and it scared the crap out of me. So, but yeah, guys. So, honestly though, I think we covered video games pretty well. All of these are amazing, and honestly, we will come back to do another video game episode because there's honestly way too many to cover for one episode of the podcast here today. So, but yeah, great conversation, guys. Now, before we get into Collector's Corner, which is going to be the next segment after this, I'm going to go ahead and share, since we're on video games, and my guys over at SaberMax got this up a little while ago, but this thing is insane, so I am going to show this off. Excuse me here as I try to find it.
You're going to get this one day. I believe in you. We're going to get the share screen.
This is probably
ready to go. Yeah.
This is probably the next one I'm going to be getting.
And the soundboard.
It is this guy right here. It is the Survivor, the Cal Kestis one. So I was talking to them about this one actually, because I was like, hey, I want to show this on the podcast and everything.
Dude.
The saber. So the whole thing, it's not a double-bladed saber, right? This thing is 4.5 feet long, like blades.
Oh, it's a Halliburton. Look at the handle. It's nuts.
Yeah. So they said it is an absolute beast of a saber, and like I'm thinking about this because you guys have seen my collection. I'm like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna display this because like it's just so freaking huge. But like, this is an absolute top tier want for me as far as sabers go. Like, Cal's
really neat.
saber is right in the top of like my favorites as far as lightsaber goes.
Totally.
His isn't even like, so it's this newer one. The Survivor has the crossguard and stuff, which is new and really cool. It's not even just the crossguard. I just really love the way that the emitter looks on his and the way that his flows and everything. And I definitely plan on adding this to my collection one day here. But love the way this looks. The guys at SaberMax got this in stock. And so you see it's not the most affordable of them, but If you guys go check out SaberMaxLightsabers.com and use my code, the Dadalorian, you guys can get 10% off of your order. And they are having a sale right now for a couple of their lightsabers where you can get them NeoPixels and stuff below $300. And with my code, the Dadalorian Special, you can even get them for an additional $15 off. So,
I was gonna say, like, fully understanding the all of the Force, but if you were in like a multi lightsaber wielder battle with that thing is an absolute liability. Like, I mean, literally,
Matt,
like, you clear a 6-foot berth for me to lightsaber fight. Like, that is insane.
It's basically the William Wallace of Star Wars, essentially.
100%. Yeah.
And when you're playing the game and you bust that thing out.
Yeah. He's like swinging it too. He takes like his time to swing it. Just how you display it. So I have a big Buryaga one up here. You just got to go horizontal.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. And like the way my collection's set up, I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to make some room up in this son of a bitch.
Okay, 2 to 3 minutes before we go to Collector's Corner, Outlaws. We didn't talk about Outlaws.
I mean, I'm still trying to get through it. It's just slow for me to get through it. I have
not played it yet.
I love playing Sabacc. That's my biggest thing. That's why I play it.
My brother loves Sabacc too. I didn't touch Sabacc, but I just got through having a 1-year-old. I don't play video games too often, so I play like half an hour on Saturdays when he's napping. So I'm the kind of guy with video games. I play through the main quest first before I really pay any heed to anything else. So that's true to form. That's what
how
I did.
I am with those two.
And I really enjoyed it.
It's probably better.
Frankly, I thought like there are parts of the gameplay. I'm not gonna say the story, so don't get on my back about this. But the gameplay, there are parts of it that I like better than Survivor. I just think it's fun and just. Matt, you will appreciate this comment. Just having the blaster at your side. Like, you can't rely on a lightsaber to just cut through everybody because it makes it pretty easy.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And I haven't watched the cutscenes yet on that one, so no spoilers. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of, there's not really that many cutscenes in general because, like, even when you take off your ship, it's smooth. It's a smooth flow from the planet into the atmosphere into hyperspace, which is one of the most epic parts of that game.
Yeah.
I've seen that. That's so crazy. Yeah.
It took me way too long to figure out how to get into hyperspace the first time on the Xbox, but we won't talk about that.
Wait,
That's
you
okay.
guys want to hear the game that I play every day that is probably scoffed at on the internet? On my phone. Yeah, the game of life, scoffed at by all. The Hollow Table Heroes game I play on my phone. If anyone's ever heard of that, it is addicting. I've been playing since it came out in 2016. If anybody has a phone and wants to download it, you will end up spending money at some point. I'm sorry, it just happens. But it's like a turn-based 5 versus 5 game. And like, it is just like the easiest thing to get lost in when you're like, on a Saturday when you're bored doing the playthrough of it. It's really fun for those of us that don't have systems, for anybody that's listening. But yeah.
Fair enough, my man. All right, well, moving into it, guys, we get into the fun part of it, which is Collector's Corner. We get to show off some of our collection. And since Brent is the guest on the show, we gotta let him go first. And I mean, look at everything behind him.
He's basically got Collector's Corner going on here.
His whole room is a Collector's Corner.
It is. I will bring one thing up right now.
Okay.
A few moments later.
Oh, I saw you.
I just finished making him.
Nice.
I don't have a name. I don't have a name for him yet. But
that is so cool.
This is my pit droid.
For those listening, it is a life-size pit droid.
Life-size articulating, not articulating, but movable, functional pit droid.
Can it go into flat mode, like where the legs all fold in?
The legs can fold.
So hypothetically,
I'd feel really bad if we
I don't want you to break it with me asking that. Yeah, I was just like when I said that. I was like,
I'll show you.
Let's practice that. You can show us next time. I don't want to.
No, that's awesome,
so cool.
dude. How long did that take?
It took about 3 days of printing, only about 2.5 rolls of filament to use. So it's not
really
too much.
That's not too bad.
It's really not.
Is that all black? I'm just trying to see because it's dark in there.
It is all black. Yeah, it's
nice
filament.
Oh, it's so cool.
I want to sand it and paint it, but that's gonna be a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
It's
you
gonna
could
stay black
keep
for a
it-
second.
I mean, you could keep it black and just turn it into like a dark side pit droid at this point.
Imperial
True.
pit droid.
Get a big red
Imperial
light right
picture.
here.
Yeah,
Yep.
like a HAL 9000 in there. Perfect.
Yeah, one
That
of the
would actually
guys
be sick.
Matt and I follow on Instagram got it was the Target special pit droid pack, and he's doing Jamie, he's doing this whole little story. He's come up with a name for the pit droid,
Love it.
and it's really fun.
Nice. Nice,
I love
man.
pit
Well,
droids.
I'll tell you what, that's a hell of a collector's corner, and I don't think we've ever had somebody display
Yeah.
something quite that big for collector's corner, to tell you the truth.
You could the TIE fighter comes close, but
I was thinking about the TIE fighter. I was like, that's pretty close, but I don't know how tall that is actually. So
you could probably sell that online for like $500.
probably actually, I've
Side hustle. No
Seriously,
lie. 5
like
days to
people
burn.
sell
Yep.
like these little dioramas, like these little pieces of dios for like $50. I'm like, they're awesome, but
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of money lying around.
fact.
Oh yeah, not yet.
Well, good choice, Brent, and I like what we see. So, Ant, why don't you go ahead and show us next, brother?
All right,
Yeah, what
so
have you 3D printed and built this week? Ant?
nothing, but I could sing that to you.
You just did.
Nothing.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Like
you already
your
got this
mustache.
gift.
Nothing.
No,
Lovely.
I'm gonna do a quick PSA because I was talking a little bit with Matt before. So for those of us who are photographers out there who like to use dioramas, I might have mentioned it on the cast, but Matt and I both recently got this dio set on Amazon from Extreme Sets. That it was $20, and these are
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
these are the
It's
pieces.
like-
So mind you, there are 4 of these.
It's
I'm
huge.
holding 2, but there's
Brother,
4.
I need the link for that.
And
Yeah,
it's
it was-
$20. Extreme Sets.
You just go on Amazon,
so-
Eric, and look up Extreme Sets. And
The
it's
cool thing
literally-
is,
they have a whole store.
2 for like this one. It was fun little 3D door
Oh,
Go in front
cool.
or in back.
and back. So just wanted to throw it out there because if anyone's looking to expand their, photography collection, I guess if you will, and you're on a budget, could be a great option.
Yeah, their big
But-
sets are like $80, and I have a couple
Yeah.
of those.
Yeah.
And they're huge. Like if I were to set one up on a table, it takes up like 4 or
Enormous.
5 feet of space. Yeah, it's like 2 feet high.
I have a really good friend who got me one of those for my birthday.
Yeah, it was me. I'm the good friend.
All right, so I took a little time there, so I'll be quick with the collector's corner. I'm doing a little bit different style of shot, trying a little something different out where I'm going to showcase more of just a figure in a series and do less of a scene, which is a little different for me. I usually do more of a scene, but I'm taking a little method of keeping it simple and seeing where it goes to kind of perfect some of my like techniques with like lighting and things like that. So anyways, one of the figures that popped into my hand today was this little feller,
Hell yeah.
Django Fett. So this is not the Gaming Greats one. This is the Redbox Django.
Okay.
So he's got a slightly different jetpack
Yep.
than the Gaming Greats one. And then, I mean, this isn't any different, but of course, his helmet comes off. For an older figure, I mean, he still looks good. And
Those,
I know
for the older ones, yeah, it does look pretty good because some of those back in the red box line were rough.
I mean,
That
as far
body
as
mold, though.
as the look of the figure, though, Matt, I think you would agree with this. Maybe
It
I'm
looks
wrong,
nice.
but it looks good and it photographs
looks good.
well. As far as posing it and articulation goes,
Standing
Cer-
up.
certainly
to
not
stand
the
it up?
greatest. It is not an easy one for me to stand up.
Oh, that one's not easy. Okay, I had a couple of that body mold standing up in a photo the other day. I don't know if you saw it, but
I just set my pale Grievous up here.
okay.
Oh,
If you
so
want
you
to
can
go
stand
back
up
to
Grievous.
if you want to go back to my Mando Monday last week, I got 4 figures with that mold to stand up. I just wanted you to look at that, Ant. But yeah, he looks great. He looks
Doesn't
great.
he though?
Hell yeah.
Next
Yeah,
time I'll
what
have both. I'll have a Grievous head and a Django head to wear next time.
Oh, nice.
He's sitting in my garage.
You just have Django's actual like helmetless head. You're like, it's very screen accurate. It's just
Super screen accurate.
Yeah,
That would actually be freaking. That would be a hilarious action figure. A spring-loaded Jango Fett head on an action figure.
that would be
That
awesome.
would be hilarious.
Yeah. So, but no, for this figure, I didn't actually know the gaming grades one existed. I got this pretty early on in collecting, like before I really knew a whole lot. And I got into collecting right around when Mando came out, and so I was just geeked about Mandalorians. And I was like, I will buy every
As you should
Mandalorian
be.
figure.
Yeah,
I was like, I will buy
yeah.
every one of these. So I just bought them all, and some of them, without realizing it, I did the thing where someone in China who has it months before over here sells it at a ridiculous price, and I was like, oh, this one must have been out for a really long time. I can't seem to find it anywhere, but this person's got it for $80. I'll buy it from him. And then like 4 months later, they're all over on the shelves for $20, $25. I'm just like,
Hey man,
Dang it.
I once gave a guy I just once gave a guy in the Philippines like $300 to 3D print like blasters for me for figures because I just didn't know what scammers were like, and he was like, it's not going through, and I was like, I'll send you another $100. And then Eric and I started moderating a page, and like people would get so upset they got scammed. I'm like, listen, it happens to the smartest guys. Like, let me tell you. But it's a real you live, you learn type of thing.
Unfortunately, so. But good, good choice for Collector's Corner, man. So
thanks, man.
we haven't had any Mandos on for Collector in a hot minute now. I don't think so. Matt,
you showed what's his name?
To show
Pre-Viz like last week.
couple weeks ago.
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot about
for
that.
For the
actually.
Dadalorian, you can't keep track of your Mandos. Yeah.
I gotta keep track of 2 kids. All right, my brain's fried every single day of my life. So,
Wow.
since you're
Sounds
gonna,
like a personal problem.
yeah, undoubtedly. But Matt, why don't you go ahead and take the lead and do the next one?
So I'm going to take a page off my friend Ant, I Am Not a Committee's book, and pull something off my shelf because I did not think of a Collector's Corner thing beforehand. But because Ant has been showing off his vehicles and I own so few, I thought I would show the Rey Force Awakens speeder.
Oh, very nice.
Which I got, believe it or not, on like Amazon when it was on closeout for like $7.99 or something.
Holy
That's
shit.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it was like one of those things like I owned like a speeder bike at that point, and it's just so cool. It's huge. The panels come off, and like the great thing about it is like I don't own a lot of vehicles. It's a little dusty. Sorry guys. It's been in the sand. I don't own a lot of vehicles. So adding these to my photos is just really cool. Like one of my favorite photos I've ever taken is actually a kit bash of a young Han Solo, but he's kind of wearing his Bespin jacket, and he's riding this thing, and I added like speed blur and like him shooting. But like even in general for the time and like black box line, the Rey figure is cool looking. Like it's kind of I don't take that many sequel shots, but having the vehicle in the background is just awesome. And since then. It's in storage because it's in mint condition, fully boxed. One day I'll bust it out. I got the snow speeder. From a friend of mine who's getting rid of his collection. So that's something that maybe I'll bust out sometime and put on the cast. But it's an unboxing that is a very expensive unboxing, and I rarely keep things boxed. But I was like, I don't know, mint condition of that. Like I
That's
just
a little.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I can understand that one.
From their I released them from the prison policy. I'm like, I don't know, it's pretty good prison.
So the cool thing
it's like
for me when
Fed.
I'm taking pictures with both Rey's speeder there and like Luke's land speeder is that they are not unique vessels.
100%.
Like there are hundreds of thousands of them in the galaxy probably. So anyone can be in those. And I love to just throw random like duos in the land speeder, like offer like I did like
why not?
Bosk and Forlom one time, and they were just going off for a little joyride, and just a fun vehicle to shoot.
You guys need to go to Outpost X here in Utah and ride your own like real life land speeder.
Oh, I'm in.
Ooh.
I'm totally in.
I think I've seen that on like on YouTube or something like that. That looks nuts, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't throw at me with a good time.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need to convince us too hard, honestly.
Yeah. When you were talking about, I think I said this on the cast, I can't remember. There being like thousands of those. Somebody, I forget the class of ship that the Tantive is from A New Hope, but somebody was talking about how many of them there are. He's like, it's like the Jeep Grand Cherokee of that galaxy, and I thought that was the best analogy I'd ever heard.
Yep.
That's
yep.
hilarious. All right. Well, I'll finish this off with Collector's Corner, and I feel like since we are on video games, this one from Gaming Greats line is just fitting. And this, so I bought this at a GameStop, and I had no idea how hard this one would be to get. So I am very happy I did pick it up, and it is this guy.
Ooh, I got
Oh
that
my
guy.
gosh.
That's the exclusive
bling.
Cal.
The OG Cal.
Yeah, the Cal
So
in his
this-
poncho from just
the
the
poncho, and
Dang.
this was the first like deluxe one, so to say, they did from the Gaming Greats
And
line.
that is a
so
fucking deluxe figure.
yeah, so I mean, it comes with so much because it's got his regular saber, the double bladed saber,
Dang.
BD, the hoodie, and the little whatever the little
Bogling.
animal is. Bogling,
the
that's what it is. I
yeah,
thought it,
the
I was
green
like, it was something
holocron
bog-
too.
Yeah,
That
the
green
yeah, that's
holocron is such a good
Mhm.
prop. If you take, I used
Yeah.
it like for a photo last week. Yeah, that figure is just
He did, and that photo was
Awesome.
amazing.
And
Yeah,
that is actually one of my earlier Black Series pickups, honestly. So like
Dang.
that one is one of those ones that stayed up in my collectible shelf and like has not like that's the first time I've taken that off the wall since I've moved, honestly. So that's a special one for me, honestly. So but anyways, folks, that wraps us up for Collector's Corner this week and wraps up this week's show. So now, before we go, we want to say thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you guys coming out, spending another week with us, talking Star Wars, especially because this actually marked our 1-year anniversary for doing the podcast. Didn't realize that until we went to go shoot today, and it's pretty crazy to think that we've been doing this for a year, guys.
It's awesome.
Yeah, Matt and I started this ourselves, kind of getting this going, and then we brought Ant into the mix. We've had amazing guests on the show ever since, like our boy Brent here. And honestly, you know, we've done it for a year, and we're gonna keep on going, guys. We are, as it says in the description on our YouTube, we are just a bunch of guys who love Star Wars stuff and really just want to make this community a better place and have fun with what we do. So now,
Yeah.
go. You were saying
I was,
something?
can I say something? I started it with you. Yeah, I was just
I
going to
guess
say
so.
it is. Yeah, it's insane that we are on our 1-year anniversary. For anybody that jumped in the middle, I can't recommend enough that you do not watch our first 10 episodes. They are not good. I mean, we're using like
Those are
laptops.
rough.
I've got like earbuds in, but like really, that we've come a long way, and the addition of Ant and of course Eric and I being really close, this has been awesome. Brent, you were a big get for the this 1-year anniversary surprise.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Thanks.
having people like you on in the community, that we can meet and then become friends with, it's been really special. And I just thank everybody for listening.
Absolutely, man. So now,
man.
before we head out for the week, we just want to, as I already said, thank you. We encourage you guys to go over to our Facebook page at @SithHappens_Star Wars podcast. And in the bio, you will find our link tree. Our link tree has links to all of our various streaming platforms, such as Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, the whole shebang. So please go in there, follow us, subscribe, like our videos. We really appreciate everything we do, trying to spread the good word of Star Wars. So now, Brent, this is where we're signing off, brother. So why don't you firstly tell everybody where they can find you on social media, and give us a little sign off there.
Yeah, for sure. So honestly, Instagram is my main thing, but you can also find me on X and TikTok as if it's going to stay around for a little bit.
Yeah,
See about
90
that.
days or like
Yeah,
70.
we got
now.
90 days.
Yeah.
It's there. I'll be on YouTube a little bit more frequently now too, so that's it. But
Okay.
yeah, Star Wars is the best, and so glad we can always
What
have
is your
good
Instagram?
conversations.
What's your handle?
Nerdy Brent. Nerdy
Easy.
Brent.
I'll throw you a follow now.
Yeah,
Right
Yeah.
on.
He's actually got one of the easier handles to follow.
yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Just Nerdy Brent. But
Boom.
Star Wars is the best. I'm glad we can all escape from our woes in real life into Star Wars. So it's a good conversation and makes for great friends.
Damn
Absolutely.
And Ant, why don't you take it
Hey,
next?
well, yeah, it was a pleasure to meet you tonight, Brent, and talk a little bit about this Cliff Notes version of Star Wars video games here.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I will say, a year doing something like this and just progressing and reaching a lot, more people every time. It is just amazing for you guys, Matt and Eric. And I feel like I'm still kind of like the stepson or perhaps maybe a full son.
Listen, you started
I'm like,
sneaking
You're
on to, like,
adopted.
hey,
You're
yeah,
adopted by
yeah,
now.
you started sneaking on to like 3 episodes in a row, so you went from like the end credits of the show to like now starring also. But yeah,
Yeah.
you've been
So
doing
anywho,
you've been doing this a
think
long time with us.
I think
Yeah.
it's been about half of that time probably,
Yep.
or so.
It's like how the movies say at the very end of credits, like, and Judi Dench.
Yeah,
Yep,
exactly. You were
You're
a
a
big get,
Judi
too.
Dench.
You were a big
Anyways, it's a pleasure to be here, and we'll see you all next week.
Absolutely. Matt, off to you.
I think I just did it before we started, thanking everybody. But I'll just say that
Say it again.
it's been great to be here. I don't remember what I said. All I said was it was fun. Just don't watch our early episodes. But anyway,
Watch the
you wanna
early episodes, and you have had a miserable time.
yeah, well, it was fun to do. But anyway, so again, thank you everybody for sticking around with us for 1 year and our upcoming World Anniversary episodes. So with that said, I'll just say I am Matty Ice, otherwise known as Black Series Daily Desk on Instagram. And may the Force be with you always.
Always.
And I am Eric the Dadalorian. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us for a whole year now of Star Wars Sith Happens podcast. You guys can find me at _Dadalorian_ on Instagram and everything else. This is the way.